Hey guys, what is going on? Joel here, and welcome to part 2 of the back in the day 100 subscriber special Q&A video. So, I'm not going to dive into a lot of like dissertation or commentary. I'm just going to go ahead and get right into the collection, not the collection, the questions part. So, that being said, here we go. Continuing on. These comments are from Retro Death, and he left a lot of questions. So I'm going to get to all of them. So, his first question are, what are your top 10 favorite games? Now, I did have to make a bit of a cheat sheet. Like, there were a lot of questions, like I had said, that really I had to think about. I had to think very hard about. So these are in no particular order. Some of them, Tom, I'm sure that you know. Oh, by the way, anybody who is watching this video that has not checked out Retro Death's channel, check it out. Oh, Tom, by the way, I know you just loaded up, you know, all your like 666 nights of horror. Dude, I have been so utterly busy that I have not had the chance yet to watch them. I promise I will get around to watching them and commenting and liking and all that fun stuff, but I want to give my whole attention to it, not just like half-ass through it. So, yeah, my top 10 list of games, and this is in no particular order. Some of them you'll recognize. Obviously, you know me well enough. Some of them, maybe not. So, that would be Contra for the NES, Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo, Zelda 2 for the NES. Honestly, Resident Evil 4 for the Wii. I really, really liked Resident Evil 4 on the Wii. I didn't have the chance to play it on the GameCube. I have not played any GameCube, but I love Resident Evil 4. Darksiders. First played it on the PS3, bought the remastered version on the PS4. I love it. It's such a swan song to Zelda, but I love the whole Apocalypse Four Horsemen vibe. It's just so cool. I love it. I love the storyline, the gameplay element. It's just a fantastic game. Next one, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Now, this one I had a hard time picking between Assassin's Creed Black Flag or Syndicate, because both of them were fantastic. But Black Flag was really a surprise to me, because the sailing elements of Assassin's Creed 3 I hated, and just the entire storyline of Assassin's Creed. I shouldn't say the storyline of 3, but Connor Kenway in Assassin's Creed 3 was the absolute horrible, like the most horrible protagonist. I think that game fell so short. I was so hyped for it and was really let down by it. So yeah, Black Flag, fantastic. One of my top 10s. Final Fantasy II for the Super Nintendo. Link Between Worlds on the 3DS. Love that. Honestly, thought it was a fantastic game. DuckTales and Super Castlevania 4. So those are my my top 10. All right. Number 2, what do you do for a living? Just skip this if it is too personal. No, actually, that is not personal at all. It's ironic because this was something that I was waiting on. This was kind of like big news for me and for this channel. I just changed jobs, literally, as of last Monday. It was something that I'd been planning on doing for a while now. I knew that it was going to be coming, but it just finally happened last Monday. The nice thing with this job change is this is actually going to allow me more time to make videos. So originally what I had done, when you had posted that question, I worked for a uniform rental company. I worked as a route salesman, whatever. Basically, my job was to I delivered uniforms, in shop towels, wet mops, dry mops, different things like that to various businesses around the area. I had a specific location where I would deliver, and I enjoyed it. It kept me moving, definitely, because of the physicality of the job. I mean, people wouldn't think of it when you've got an entire box truck that is filled with uniforms, and it's like, hey, you know, this is a one-man job. You know, it takes you 20 minutes or so to bring all these clean uniforms in and line them up all in order, but then you've got bins upon bins of somebody else's dirty laundry, and you've got to get all bagged up and taken out, and then bring it back to the plant where it's washed and processed, and it comes back to you for the following week all nice and clean, and you drop it back off. So I did that job for 13 years, and I liked it. I liked what I did, but it just came to the point with the company that I was with. There was no future with that company. And one of the bad aspects of that job, I can't say bad aspects, but when times were good, they were good, and when they were bad, they were bad. But I had a certain salary, but then I also worked on commission. Well, unfortunately, back in July, I lost a massive account through no fault of my own. They switched vendors, and it was more cost effective for them to do that. But one of my accounts, when I lost them, it was such a massive cut to my pay. I ended up losing almost $380 a month out of my paycheck. So that was a big hit. So I started the process of getting another job, and now, as of last Monday, I am now an employee of there's a glass plant in our town. There's two of them actually, and I work the one downtown in our little town. So I'm literally 10 minutes from home, less than 10 minutes. The money is way better benefits, and I work in a glass factory. I mean, it's there's no the job isn't rocket science. It's actually very basic, but it's kind of cool. Like we make beer bottles for like Stella Artois, Yingling, Rolling Rock. We just started Moosehead yesterday, I think. Some other different types of beers, so it's kind of interesting. But yeah, that's actually that's what I do for a living. I work in a factory that makes glass bottles. Do I have any hobbies outside of gaming and metal? Yes, actually I do. I'm an avid, I don't want to say avid weightlifter. I like working out. I like lifting weights. I like doing Actually, I went to the gym first thing this morning because I was off today. And I was doing some cardio. Hit a half an hour on the elliptical and then walked at a pretty good pace uphill cardio-wise on a treadmill. So yeah, I enjoy doing that. I enjoy cooking too. A little known fact about me, actually, when I was in high school, before I really got into music and art, I actually I wanted to be a chef. So I do enjoy cooking a lot. Kind of gotten into a lot of like desserts over the past 2 or 3 years too. Like it started basic with like a funfetti cheesecake, and then I moved on to like cannoli dip, and I've made my way on now with I make a pretty good peanut butter pie and sugar cookies. I've got a really nice sugar cookie recipe. Want to get into brownies and cakes and stuff. I just have not had the time really to do that. That, and I need some better equipment. I need to get a nice KitchenAid mixer, which with my new job I will be investing in here soon. So yeah, those are my two hobbies: working out and cooking. So, if you remember, how did you find my channel? What was the first video you ever watched of mine? Actually, your channel I found by accident. I think I was looking up I think I looked up Nintendo, and this was when you were still known as Ripley 4077, and it was the video. I think it was still your most watched video, where you were showing your Nintendo collection and your setup with the disc system. It was really cool, because it was funny because your English was good, but it wasn't as good as it is now. So there was a lot more of an accent that you had. But that was the first video I'd ever seen, and that was how I found your channel. So next question: what is the game or game series, new or old, you've always wanted to play but never did or just never had the chance to? It's funny that you would ask that now, or that I actually am reading this now, because I just actually answered that now. I've done it. I was very interested in Hyrule Warriors. Had not played it, but I just downloaded the demo for Age of Calamity. So I've had the chance to try a Warriors game, and I've really enjoyed the demo so far. So that was the one game that I've wanted to play, but I finally have. Another one, though, that is on my list that I have not played yet is Super Mario RPG. Have it on my SNES Classic, I just have not had the chance to play it yet. So that would be the one that I haven't played, but I wanted to. All right. What are some of the tattoos that you have? Okay, so this one I'm going to probably have to stand up a bit for. And these are all, other than the one on the inside of my forearm, they're all cover-up tattoos. But I do have just like a biomechanical, and then this is actually a guitar coax cable leading up in, I love the bioorganic razor bone kind of slug thing. I love that. And then it goes down in here. This was actually a Japanime girl that I had covered up. It just was really shitty artwork. This was the only piece of original. This was a memorial tattoo for my mom after she passed away. Everything on here has a meaning to it. And then this was another cover-up. This one, I love the top of this. This one was a little bit more inspired by, actually, the Desolation of Smaug. I kind of came up with some of the idea for that after I watched that movie. So, yeah, those. And then I've got a, I have one on my right calf. I have the Metallica Load Star from the Load album that has the four M's that are in the shape of a throwing star. So that is it for my tattoos. And then his last question, paranoid or crazy train? Oh, man. Okay, so this is actually bringing me into a video topic that I really want to do. And it's, being a metalhead, there's certain bands that like you're supposed to be into, supposed to like, and I want to do this video called Metal Bands That I'm Supposed to Like, But I Don't. I am not a fan of either Ozzy Osbourne or Black Sabbath. I immensely respect what Ozzy and Sabbath have done for the metal industry. I don't think that Ozzy sucks. I don't think that Sabbath sucks. Just not my cup of tea. Now, I will say Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio, what I've heard of that, I really do like. And that's not to say that there aren't certain Ozzy songs that I like or certain Sabbath songs that I like. But as a whole, as a band, I'm not going to run out and buy a Sabbath album because they're just not for me. Now, between the two songs, I would have to go with Paranoid. I think Crazy Train has just been overdone, overplayed. You walk into so many guitar stores and like literally you like it's such an overplayed guitar riff. And I don't think it's that great of a song. But that's just my personal opinion. You know, there are plenty of people that think the Crazy Train is just an anthem. That's great. If you like that song, listen to it all you want. For me, not so much. Not my thing. So, thank you, Tom. Those were all of the questions that he had. Now we move on to a plethora of questions from Retro Reminisce. Awesome channel, just discovered him a few months back. He's been an awesome supporter of mine. I've enjoyed his videos. If you guys check it out, check out some of his stuff. He does gaming and he does 80s toys, things like that. So he's a collector of a lot of different things. So Retro, dude, thank you much for the support. So let's get into some of your questions. What is your favorite childhood game? Hands down, and Tom, you know this, Final Fantasy II. That is my all-time favorite video game. I just played through it again a few weeks ago, or finished that up actually about 2-3 weeks ago. For me, it's because it reminds me, it harkens back to the Christmas of 1991. My buddy Mike came over that Christmas break. He brought a Super Nintendo. He brought Final Fantasy II, and I was just blown away by the story. And at the time, I wasn't a huge RPG fan. I had played through Dragon Warrior, and that was about it. But I mean, by and large, I just wasn't an RPG fan, but I fell in love with that by watching him play it. So I got my Super Nintendo a couple of months later, and the first thing that I did was borrow his copy of Final Fantasy II, and I played through it myself. About how many complete in box games do you own? Once again, like actually back to one of the first questions, 66 complete in box games. Best birthday or Christmas present ever? Best birthday, actually Christmas would have been the Christmas of 1989. That was when I got my Nintendo. So my NES action set. So this next question, do you collect vintage toys? No, I do not. And ironically, I don't know if you've checked out my Star Wars read-along books video yet, but I did have a box of old Star Wars toys in my basement that my mom had kept, and I kind of did a bit of a Toy Story 3. My good buddy Dave, he's got kids that are really into Star Wars, and mine were all played with and stuff, and I offered them to him, and I said, hey man, you can have them for your kids, and they're getting a second lease on life. So I was really happy about that, and I actually gave him, because Dave's a record collector, and he's a Star Wars collector too. He's actually got a full-sized Boba Fett suit It's really cool. Like it's funny. You look at the guy and think he's a total jock, but he's actually he's a nerd like we are. It's really funny. But no, I do not have any vintage toys. Let's see, Pearl Jam or Nirvana? Oh man, neither. Honestly, I'm not a fan of either band. Of the Seattle Big Four of Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, and Alice in Chains, always went for Alice in Chains. But if you, that's not that this. I'm not a fan of either band. Honestly, I think that Eddie Vedder is a pretentious frontman. I don't like him. Pearl Jam's got some good songs. Nirvana's got some good songs. I just think Nirvana was a bit overrated. But I like Dave Grohl, honestly. So that's an odd thing. But if I did have to pick, I would probably have to go with Nirvana over the two. Worst memory I have with a game, and it's funny. The worst memory I have with a game is also with a game that I really thoroughly enjoy, and that was with Astyanax. It would have been spring break of 1991, 7th grade, and my buddy Mike came over, and he brought Astyanax with him. Now, I was a kid during elementary school, middle school. I did not apply myself at all. I hated schoolwork. I wanted to come home and want to play. So when it came to homework and schoolwork and things, I wanted nothing to do with it. So my teacher had sent everybody in the class home with all these back assignments that we were supposed to get done while we were on break. Now, come on. What kid wants to be stuck doing schoolwork during spring break? So I hurried up and I half-assed my way through every single piece, just wrote down random answers. I didn't care because I knew that when I was done, I'd get my Nintendo and I would be allowed to play. So we were upstairs in my room playing Astyanax, and my dad comes up and he says, "Hey, I want you to bring all your schoolwork down that you've done. I want to look at it." And instantly had a panic attack. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm screwed. So I bring it down, and Mike's still upstairs in my room, and my dad's looking over everything, and he's like getting pissed because he can tell that I, fiddle fucked my way through it. So he looks over at my mom, and he says, "All right, you need to take Michael home." So I go upstairs. He's like, "Go upstairs and tell Mike he's going to have to go home." So I go up, and Mike packs his things up, and my mom leaves, and my dad lays into me about being so lazy, and he, with good right, he had every right to, because I did. He's like, we trusted you, we gave you the benefit of the doubt, and I screwed him over. And it was funny because I didn't get my Nintendo back for quite some time after that. So I enjoyed the game, but it was the worst gaming memory because me and schoolwork at the time, we did not mix. Van Halen or Van Hagar? Wow. That's actually interesting enough, considering Eddie Van Halen just passing away there a couple weeks back. It's funny, I got to go with Van Halen, but ironically enough, or oddly enough, I should say, Van Hagar was. How Do I Know When It's Love was the first Van Halen song I ever heard. I remember summer of '88 in my room with my wiffle ball bat, pretending I was playing guitar, like lip syncing along to that song, just cranking it. My dad walking in going, "What the hell are you doing?" I love the guitar riff, and to me it was just a great song. It still is. I still enjoy it. But that was the first Van Halen song I ever heard. But I still, if I have to pick between the two of them, it would be Van Halen with David Lee Roth. Favorite 1980s movie? That one's a tough one. I don't know if I really have an answer. I would have to say if I really had to pick one, because there are a lot of great movies from the 80s. Even though I didn't watch it until the summer of 1990, I think it came out in 89. I'm not 100% sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't bother looking this up beforehand. The Wizard. Because that movie has honestly... I just watched it a few years ago and it's still held up. Still a great story. I still enjoy watching it. So that would be my favorite 80s movie. Favorite 90s movie? That one's a difficult one too. I put a lot of thought into that one because there were a lot of great movies from the 90s. And when it boiled down, there were two that I would have had to have picked. Ultimately, the one that I went with, though, it still holds out. I almost went with Goodfellas. Love Goodfellas. Still one of my all-time... Definitely in my top 10 list of movies. But I have to go with Terminator 2. because Terminator 2, the summer of 1991, man, that I remember I would watch MTV nonstop just to watch the You Could Be Mine video with Guns N' Roses, You Could Be Mine, just to see clips of Terminator 2. So like that, and the fact that that summer we were all anticipating the release of the Super Nintendo. It was coming. We knew it was coming. So like summer 91 was the three things that I remember the most about summer 91: Terminator 2, Guns N' Roses, and the Super Nintendo. So Terminator 2 is my favorite. Let's see. Favorite old school wrestler? If I had to go back, it would probably have to be the Ultimate Warrior or Bruce the Barber Beefcake. Current gen game that I'm playing, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Best game to come out in the last 15 years, I would probably have to say, for me, Darksiders. Been my favorite. What tattoo is my least favorite? Alright, well the one that I didn't show, I have a Pantera, Cowboys from Hell emblem, like insignia logo on the back of my neck. The guy that did it used real cheap ink, didn't really apply you can't even see it. That's my least favorite tattoo. It turned out looking like crap. Have I ever partied with a famous person? No, I've only ever met a handful of famous people. I kind of partied, I guess. Perhaps depends on your definition of famous and how you look at it. Like I met Dave Mustaine from Megadeth. I met him after a show in 2001 in Pittsburgh when they played with Iced Earth. And then I just, in terms of, I guess, partying, my buddy John and I, not this last February, but February before 2019, we drove all the way up to Cleveland to see Marty Friedman, who had been the guitar player for Megadeth. We got meet and greet passes, so we actually went on the tour bus and hung out with Marty for about 15 minutes. But the opening band was a band called Immortal Guardian, and Immortal Guardian's fantastic, like just great power metal band. We hung out after the show with Gabriel, the guitar player, and had a couple of drinks with him and just bullshitted, and it was like super cool, down to earth. Like, so I mean, I guess that was kind of partying, perhaps. Favorite non-metal musical artist, that would have to be James Taylor. Love James Taylor. Could cereal be your main food source? No. My most prized possession? Actually, my memories. I'm such a sucker for nostalgia, my memories would be my most prized possession. Was I a member of the Burger King Kids Club? No, I was not, but I did do Book It with Pizza Hut. If you would tell your younger self, what would you tell your younger self if you could have a phone call with it? Heartbreaks end. Don't be so fucking emo. Things get better. Like, the one thing that I have learned, I'm 42, almost 43, the one thing that I have learned is youth is best wasted on the young. With getting older comes wisdom and maturity, and those are two things that you cannot put a price tag on. And quite honestly, I love every bit of it. But if I could tell my younger self from about 20, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, I would say, look, you know, what you think you want now is not what you're going to want in 20 years. I used to get hung up. There were, a couple chicks that I dated and I got hung up on. I was like, oh, I'll never live without them. And it's like, I look back and I cringe because it's, things get easier. I love my youth, but I would never go back and relive it. I guess we always say we love to go back and relive it, but we'd also want to know what we know now, and I think that would defeat the purpose. Part of the joy of it is being able to look back and pick out the good times from the bad. So, if you could bring back one person who has passed and spend 2 hours picking their brain, who would you choose? I'm not going to get all religious on you, but honestly, if I could have a conversation with one person for 2 hours, it would be Jesus. I would love to know right from the source, because the Bible has been so misinterpreted by so many different people, and I want to know the source of what I've been taught and what I've been reading. So, yeah, it would definitely be Jesus Christ. So that is it, guys, for all of the questions. I want to thank everybody so much for all the awesome questions that were posted. I've honestly enjoyed answering them because it's made me think, given me a lot to think about and ponder. So yeah, now with the new job, like I said, going forward, I will be able to make videos on a more regular basis because I actually didn't mention. I'm gonna have a rotating shift. Like actually, I got off work yesterday at 8 o'clock in the morning. I worked midnight to 8. So kind of gave me part of the day. I mean, I came home and slept. I'm actually off today, but I came home and slept and then got up and ate dinner and stuff. But yeah, so I mean, there'll be plenty of mornings when like I'll get off at 8 o'clock in the morning and I can just come home and I can do an unboxing video because I'll be the only one here. So yeah, so I'll be looking forward to pumping out some more videos very soon. We're going to be getting back to the unboxings here in a couple of weeks. Once I kind of get on a routine. So once again, guys, thank you for the support, and here's to another 100 subs coming up. All right, catch you guys later.